Hi everyone, welcome to Learning Impact. In today's lecture, we will discuss the difference between class system and caste system in sociology. So let's start. Okay, what are the main differences between class and caste system? We will look into the differences from different aspects like its definition. We will discuss the nature of status, the in which society does the class and caste system exist, and what are these types, how these types of systems are different from each other. So the class is a status which is acquired by individual due to the acquired wealth and power. So it is because mainly of the economic differences that classify individuals into upper, middle and lower class. That is the class system. So it is mostly based on wealth and power which individual have acquired. While caste system is a status of individual which is acquired by the ritualistic legitimization of authority. Means it is something acquired by individuals just because of the traditional authority, which Max Weber called traditional authority. Means because it is something rooted in our society, in our tradition, and just because that majority of the people of society agree with such traditions and rituals, so it classify individual into different caste and groups. So this is the caste system. An individual own capabilities has no role in caste system. So the nature of status, in case of the class, it is, as we discussed, it is a status which is acquired by individuals, so it means that it is based on the achieved status. As it is based on achieved status means that it can be changed, it is flexible. An individual who can change their status of the middle class to up and can jump to the upper class by accumulating more and more wealth and power. So by fulfilling the gap of the economic differences between individuals, a person can change the status. So it is something based on achieved status. While in case of the caste, it is ascribed status because it is something, label individuals since their birth. It is the label which individual carry since their birth forever. So this is the caste system, which is more fixed, more rigid as compared to the class system, and which is because of the ascribed status, which is something entitled since birth. So an individual born in a lower class will always remain an individual or a person of a lower class forever. So it cannot be changed. It is ascribed. Then class system exists in industrial society because in industrial society there is a competition, and individual they try to they compete on the they compete for the economic gains, for the resources, and in this way there is as Karl Marx said, that in industrial society there are two classes, that is the have and have not class. So individuals they compete with each other for the sufficient for these scarce resources, and in this way it leads to a different class system. An individual who is able to access such resources will be classified as elite class, and those who are lacking such resources will be then classified as lower class. But in case of the caste, it is rooted in a traditional society because it has a ritualistic legitimization. So it will be classified as as a part of the traditional society, and it actually discourage the social mobility. So the traditional society is often categorized by the caste system as, for example, if you take the Indian society, where there is a caste system which classify people into Brahmins and Dalits and others. So in this way, it is something entitled by the people since birth, and it is deeply rooted in a traditional society. Then the type of system, in case of the class, it is considered an open system. It is open to change. It can be changed. It is flexible. The social change is possible in a class system. An individual can change their status and move to up and down and move within a social stratification, within the strata. So there is a possibility of the horizontal mobility and the vertical mobility, as class system is open system. An individual can join and exit. For example, an individual who is from the upper class and suddenly the economic recession occur and he lost he suffers some losses, so he will then jump down to the other he will then move down to the other classes like the lower and middle class. Similarly, an individual who work hard and who is now a member of the middle class can move to the upper class. So it is open system, it can be changed. While in case of the caste, it is a closed system. It actually discourages the social change, and social change is mostly impossible in case of the caste system because it is mostly an individual who is entitled as a Dalit will remain forever Dalit. He cannot change his caste because it is something considered a closed system. So we can say that the upward mobility is very difficult in rigid caste system. Also regarding that, just because they like marriages, intermarriages, also their professions are restricted to a specific caste. So we can say that caste system is closed system, while class is open system. Then the other differences include, for example, norms and values. Norms and values exist in every system, in class system and in caste system. But in caste, it is more rigid. The norms and values do exist in every system, but in caste system, it is so rigid that even it prevents the interdining and intermarriages. But in case of the class, the norms do exist, but it is relatively flexible. There is a kind of norms associated with the elite class, their lifestyle, their food taste, their music choice. It is restricted to elite class, and also in case of in case of the middle and lower class, they do have some norms and values attached to their lifestyle and their way of living, but it is these norms are considered more flexible because it can be changed. One norm that is now today which is today associated with the elite class can be a norm of the middle or lower class. It is impacted, it can be impacted by the media, and also it can be changed to the other social changes. But in case of the caste system, it is more rigid. It is because it is deeply rooted in society, and it is mostly a part of the closed system. Then outlook and worldview. Class system, their worldview is ambitious. They have the individualistic worldview. So they tend to focus on the individual capabilities, the individual social mobility, and they have some ambitions on which they work. But in case of the caste system, the individuals, they prioritize the caste benefits over their individual benefits. That's why in case of the caste system, the individual progress is low as compared to the whole caste. They try to promote the caste as a whole, as rather than promote their own individual benefits. Then class system, it does not act as a hindrance to democracy, because it is not necessary to act as a hindrance to democracy, because the classification is mostly based on education, the social status, and also the work one does, the capabilities of individual. But in case of the caste system, it can severely restrict the equal opportunities because it does not promote democracy. It severely limits the equal opportunity of to rise from one status to individual. From one status to another of an individual. For example, those who is a part of Dalit in Indian society will have some occupation which has been defined by Indian society, which is particular for a caste system, for a particular caste, Dalit. For example, in case of the Dalits, they have the occupations like they are mostly those who clean the streets. It's such kind of the lower occupations are categorized for such caste. So mostly in that case, there is the caste system often they inhibit the equal opportunities. That those who are in upper caste in Indian society, they will have different opportunity and more opportunity of social mobility as compared to the lower. But then in case of the occupational mobility, as we discussed at this class and caste system, especially in caste system, there is a occupation, they define occupation for each caste. So occupational mobility in case of the caste system is slow. The horizontal mobility is possible. For example, there are different professions which has been defined for a particular caste. So one can switch from one profession to another, but within that defined occupations. It cannot adopt the profession or occupation of the upper class. But in case of the class, the higher social mobility is possible when because individual has equal opportunity. So they can gain education, they can work hard, they can improve their skills, and they can move up in a social strata. Okay, then the other differences which include like type of marriage. In case of the class system, there is an exogamous marriages. Individual, they can get married out of their caste, out of their family. But in case of the caste system, it is endogamous marriages. An individual is mostly restricted to get married to the to individual of their own caste. So the intermarriages, the endogamous marriage is one of the attributes of the caste system, and it actually and such kind of practices actually inhibit the social change in caste system. And the type of inequality, in case of the class, it is the dispersed inequality, while in case of the caste, it is the cumulative inequality. Because in case of the class, it is because of the economic differences, so it is dispersed. Inequality is dispersed, but in case of the caste, it is cumulative. It is concentrated in a particular population, because and a particular group is then, when they follow the strict norms and values of their caste from generation to generation, then they can it can lead to the concentrated inequality, concentrated poverty on a particular subgroup. So we can say that it is not something dispersed, but it is within a particular caste. Between the caste there is a cumulative inequality. Then the political force, in case of the class, it is not act as a political force, but in case of the caste, it sometimes act as a political force. For example, if we take the case of India, mostly the caste has more importance in case of Indian society. So mostly the political parties, they will select the variable candidate of the upper caste for their elections. So in this case, that's why it is considered that it can work as a political force. People can give them vote just because of when they look that they are member of their own caste, so they can cast vote for them. So in that case, it can help them by acting as a political force for them. And religious belief, in case of the class, it is not affected by religious belief. It is mostly associated with individual own capabilities. As we discussed, it has an individualistic approach, so it is mostly free from the religious beliefs. But in case of the caste, it sometimes stems from the religious beliefs. For example, in case of India, the caste system is part of their religion. So it might be that it has some roots in the religion, and as in case of the traditional society, the religious beliefs are so strictly followed, so that's why they cannot be changed, and in that way it leads to form a closed system. Okay, that examples of the class system include the upper, middle, and lower class. In Pakistan society, there are now subdivisions like the upper class, upper middle, and upper lower class, and similarly in case of the middle and lower class. So this is all on the basis of the economic differences. But in case of the caste, in case of Pakistan, there are Chatta, Chima, these are the different castes. But in case of India, the caste system has a more profound effect on society. There are different castes like Brahmins and Dalits and others. Okay, so this is the occupational structure and prestige rating in Pakistan society. As we discussed, the Pakistan society has the class system, which is more obvious. The society has been classified into upper, middle, and lower class. So according to Pakistan society, those who are industrialists, who are feudal lords, who are Supreme Court judge, politicians, and generals, they are classified as a part of upper class just because of their social prestige and the economic gain they have. And in case of the middle class, the skilled labor, the small businessmen and teachers, they are classified as part of middle class. And the lower class are mostly unskilled laborers, the carpenter, the sweeper. These all are the upper, middle, and lower class classification of Pakistan society. It is relative for different society. Like for example, those who are part of the upper class in Pakistan society can be a part of the middle class in other society. Similarly, the skilled laborers who are more value in Western countries, as in case of Pakistan. So in Pakistan, they are classified as a part of middle class, but in Western countries, they can be as part of upper class or others. So we can say that the occupational structure is different from society to society. Okay, an Indian caste system, that is the Indian caste system which classify people into these castes, and they have some defined occupations. For example, for Dalits, they have some occupation defined by the society that others, they have to work for, street sweeper, the waste remover, dead body handlers. And also the other castes have different occupations like farm worker, unskilled worker, and servants for Sudra. The Brahmin, they are mostly priests. So these are the different criteria which has been set by the Indian society, and this caste system is more prominent in case of the Indian society. Okay, so this was the end of our lecture. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your questions in the comment section below, and like, share, and subscribe our channel for